Well, there we go. After 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, I don't know, doesn't matter. Sitting around, thankfully not on a bike, drinking coffee, chatting nonsense and watching 15-year-old episodes of Top Gear. This marks the beginning of the end of this little trip. Just said ta-ta to Dad, and we're on the A14 heading eastwards down to Harwich. We've got the overnight ferry tonight to the Hook of Holland, and then bright and sparky tomorrow morning we'll be screaming across Holland and Germany to end up back at Hamburg, and then real life continues, back to work unfortunately. So with the impending darkness and thankfully just shy of 2.5 hours to complete an hour and 50-minute journey, should have a relatively relaxing ride with a tiny little bit of off the motorway stuff just to keep things interesting in the middle. So hopefully my headlights are now properly adjusted, and also wiped off 7 days worth of Scottish midges from it as well, so hopefully there'll be a bit more light spilling out of there now. So yeah, I'm going to get on with this nonsense, and yeah, maybe I'll see you in Harwich. Getting the feeling I should go this way. Just a hunch. Sometimes I really do think I can see me going off biking, and I definitely think I can see me going off recording the whole nonsense. Oh, I just pulled up in that horrible little cafe attached to a disgusting little supermarket in this depressing little village. As soon as I pulled in there to escape the torrential rain stopped and the sun came out. So I quickly finished my coffee, hung my jacket on my bike in the hope that it would dry out a little bit while I put everything else on, went back inside to get the rest of my stuff. The skies opened up again and utterly drenched my jacket, my waterproof jacket, which is now wet on the inside and the outside. So I ordered another coffee. Thought, okay, I'm going to wait this out. As soon as I sat down with the coffee, that happened. Sun popped out again. Glorious, glorious sunshine. The road started to dry up. So I've quickly smashed everything together to jump back on the bike again. Now it looks like it's going to rain again. All directions this way. Alle Richtungen. But even more depressing than that, this camera has completely stopped working. Turn it on, it turns itself off again. And you can see on the screen that there's water inside, so I've just got it on here with the back door open to hopefully get some breeze through there, because there's no point putting it in my tank bag, because I can now wholeheartedly confirm that this tank bag without the waterproof cover is nowhere near waterproof, not even close. I need to be going that way. Everything that's in here, particularly everything that's in this top compartment there, is now wet, including my passport, which I replaced less than 6 months ago because the old one was water damaged. failing to see the humour and the irony here. Also in that downpour, the ultimate add-ons waterproof phone charger has now stopped working. My waterproof gloves, as you can see, are full of water. They could not be less waterproof. And now I've got the only stretch of incredible road that I've found just for this little ride, not banned for motorbikes, which is a rarity these days in Germany. And the road is soaking wet and I've got cold tyres and a horrendous bad mood. And no time to go back and do it again or to wait for it to dry out, even though it probably won't dry out because it looks like the weather's just... I don't know. The worst bit is, I had a check on the interwebs at some radar satellite imagery jiggery-pokery, and it seems like this massive storm that I was just in was actually on the move, following the exact same path that I was on from the second I left the motorway. It's motivation destroying, it really is. I had plans for some spirited riding. I really wanted to do a bit of off-bike stuff because I haven't talked you through all of the gear that I've got, but now I just want to go home and curl up in a corner and sob because half of my gear is now broken, the rest of it is probably on the way to being broken because it's all soaking wet. I mean, the stuff that was in the tank bag, unfortunately that's my own stupid fault, purely for not putting the waterproof cover on. I thought it was just going to be a shower, turns out it was a horrendous downpour. So you live and apparently don't learn. Oh well. Well, that's the good bit of road gone. Didn't really get any enjoyment at all out of that, so it's just onwards to home now, and hopefully at some point maybe it'll dry out a bit and maybe the 3 litres of water in my boots will run out. Oh, I hate it! I hate all of it right now! Oh, most of all, I just hate myself. I've cocked this up for myself, haven't I? Yeah, hopefully, because the drone is in a pocket of its own, that will be alright. That's just so depressing that by the time I dry out and be back on bloody super flat boredom world rubbish land of Hamburg where everything is straight and flat and well, this bit's dry but now it's bloody straight. Oh no, come on, we're still on the bike, we're still out. The holiday is still on, so let's just frigging get on with it, strap a pair on, get on with this ride. See, there are a couple of dry bends left. Yes, the very different attitude over here to bikers to back in England. In the UK, all over the place, we're think bike, think biker, all that kind of stuff. That sign basically just says bikers are noisy, don't be noisy. It makes me sick, the general hatred towards bikers in this country. Oh, it's such a bad mood. I need to fix this. Can't end my holiday on a bad mood. Right, well, I will catch up with you again once I've had a word with myself, or once things get interesting, although I imagine those two things should probably happen at the same time, so don't go anywhere. Oh, I do not believe this. The sun is out and it's raining on me! Jesus Christ, now I've missed the turning. I quit. I quit. The sun is on my face. How is it raining? So we've got a bit of twisties, but it also looks like it could be somebody's driveway. And it's covered in acorns, which probably could be the only thing more deadly than gravel. Hey, let's just have a road covered in marbles. Oh, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. You've got to be kidding. Let's do the gravelly corner farm track tour of Middle Germany. Yep, some dark, wet, gravelly, acorn-covered corners would be great. What the f***ing hell did you... That's not even a road, mate. That is not even a road. There's a field there. Oh, this was a very, very large mistake. What What? I'm in someone's front yard now. Yeah, this is embarrassing. Utterly, utterly embarrassing. Yeah, so this here I'm using is the Scenic app. Nice sheep. Such realistic colours. Scenic. And to be honest, it's been a complete disaster for this entire trip. It's an absolute pile of poo. It's a nightmare to use. It's about as unintuitive as you can get to plan your routes. You can't modify your routes once you've planned them, and you have to pay to have voice directions. Every time you plan a route, it pops up and says you have to buy credits to have voice direction, and you can't say to it, but I don't want voice direction, get stuffed. Just show me where I'm going. Oh, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. This I don't hate. Stuff like this we can have more of, please. That's a good sign. Literally. Really? No, I'm not going down there. I've lost interest. I've thoroughly, utterly lost interest in today. How is a street going to be good when it's called Bauerschaft Foxtrot? It just sounds like a disease that's going to hurt, doesn't it? All of this because I just wanted to make the journey home a bit more interesting. Are you kidding me, love? Are you really... I can't believe she just did that. Pulled to the left and actually shook her head as she did it. Such a small-minded attitude. This route doesn't seem like it's the greatest way to be making progress, does it? It's the most convoluted, zigzaggy nonsense that I've ever seen you come up with. Maybe if we were on a supermoto it'd be a little bit more enjoyable, but a fully loaded up liter bike, it's just hard work, isn't it? Mate, what are you doing? Can you look forwards, please? Pay attention on the road. What's he doing? Hanging over to the left. You people just get right on my f***ing tits. You really do. What do you gain from stopping the bikers getting in front? No wonder bikers are so noisy. We're all so friggin' angry. Need to calm down. Need to calm down. This isn't helping matters at all. Calm down, calm down. Calm down, dear. It's just an advert. Right now, the sun is out, we're in the countryside, we're on a powerful motorbike. Let's just get on with the act of enjoying what we're doing, shall we? You have got to be joking me. I've just starting to feel like I was turning the tide of the bad mood. But oh no, no, no. The universe steps in and just prolongs the bad mood for a little bit longer. Come on, if you want to rain now as well, that would be wonderful. Go on. I mean, there's no clouds, but you've done it already today. Well, at least it was relatively quick, eh? That's what she said. Sun, trees, curves, easy overtakes. If we could just get rid of the moisture, we'll be there. Well, that's another thing that this app does. It continually tells me that I'm off the route, reroutes me, when I'm quite clearly on the route. It is a terrible app with an inexplicably good rating on the App Store. I don't understand it. It has a routing option called Curvy, which when you put it on, it does stupid things like it'll send you down a dead end to turn around and come back because it deems that as a curve. Better, better. So now we are heading off towards Bad Essen, which could be loosely translated as bath food. And here it is, bath food. Doesn't look very bathy or very foody, does it? What the f*** is that now? Oh, it's the having to stop to try and figure out what the stuff that you've got to try and make your life easier is doing. If I take this glove off, I will not be able to get it back on again because it's going to be wet. It's pulling the lining out already. What the f*** is that? I've programmed a twisty road in there and it's sending me down it to come back again. What is the point of that? We've gone past it to go back to it. Jesus. Oh my good God, there's a whole twisty road and I've just skipped it out because you're such a f***ing idiot of an app. No, it's tough shit. That app. Share it. I wouldn't share it with my worst enemies. Delete. Goodbye. Most direct, fastest route, please. I'm over it. I just want to go home. I'm having a friggin' meltdown here. So I programmed in just 2 bits of this entire journey to enjoy, and through a combination of weather and technology, they've both just been absolutely stuffed. So, as far as I'm concerned, this trip is pretty much over. Sad thing is, I know for a fact there are no more twisty roads and no more interesting things to see between here and Hamburg, because I've already scoured the map looking for them. So ultimately, I'm very sorry that this trip has taken a rather negative downturn at the end. So I'm sure there's some sadists out there that are thoroughly enjoying my misery. Easily the lowest point of the whole holiday, but to be honest, isn't that the way it's supposed to be? If you come back from your holiday happy that you're home, you probably shouldn't have gone on holiday in the first place. Well, just like there's no smoke without fire, there's no rainbow without rain. So it looks like we're going to get wet again, boys and girls. Oh, that's a full rainbow. I don't think I've ever actually seen a full rainbow before. So I am quite literally in the last 45 minutes of my journey, but because it seems like I've caught up with the rain, I'm giving it 10 minutes just to get ahead of me again, so I thought I'd talk you through how I had the bike set up, the stuff that I used, and how it all went. So I guess to set the picture completely, this is a 2006 Yamaha FZ1N. I have behooved my steel horse with a set of Michelin Road 5s. These were very kindly given to me by Michelin to try out, and I have been nothing short of amazed by how good they are. Considering I started this trip already with about 7,000 to 8,000 kilometers on these tyres, I had no trouble absolutely stonking it around soaking wet roads in Scotland, because unfortunately for this trip it rained for about 75% of the time, hence the incredible shit state of the bike. So yeah, the tyres were an absolute wonder, and even now, though they are literally down to the last millimetre on the front and not too much further off on the back, it's been hossing it down with rain all day today, and still they feel very usable. They don't feel squared off. They don't look all that squared off. I've seen much worse. So that's the tyres. Very impressed. Screen-wise, I've got this Ermax smallish screen on the front, and last year when I went touring in Switzerland, I actually took this off because I knew that it was going to be really warm and I wanted to get more wind on my chest to keep me cool. And I really wish I'd done the same for this trip, because this thing, anything over 55 miles an hour, just causes all of the wind to be directed straight at my ears and makes this horrendous roaring sound. The only reason I've put it back on is because I couldn't fit it in the bags to bring it all the way home. So that screen, not good. I've been using the Ultimate Add-Ons phone holder for my iPhone 7 Plus. It's no longer the most secure holder in the world, and this dust that you can see here is actually the holder vibrating and wearing the plastic away. That's plastic dust. One of the little tensioning tabs has vibrated and worn so much it's broken off, and the other one, as you can see, is about to go the same way. In fact, all I have to do is just, there we go, yeah, that's broken off. So that's not ideal. That means that is now very loose and wobbly. Also, I've got the Ultimate Add-Ons waterproof charging kit. The box for this is under the back seat, and then the cable pokes out here with the little extension jobby. I had 2 of these extension jobbies, both for the iPhone. One of them, the plug was so loose in the phone itself that just the vibrations of the bike would make it turn on and off, which was less than ideal. And this one, the plug itself didn't actually fit into the bottom of the holder, so I had to trim it off and heat shrink it, and that has now led to problems with this not being really all that waterproof anymore, so function of that has become somewhat intermittent. Also, after fitting the actual power box for this charging setup under the seat, I left it turned on, it killed the battery of the bike dead in 2 days, and the bike wouldn't actually start when I went to leave on this trip, so that was also less than ideal. And furthermore, the LED light on that has stopped working as well, so it's now impossible to tell whether it's turned on or not. So all in all, not overly enamoured with the Ultimate Add-Ons USB charging solution. It's going well so far, isn't it? On the bars here I've got the Oxford grips, I think vital for any touring trip, because you never quite know what the weather's going to throw at you, and despite this being the 3rd year and the 2nd bike these actual grips have been fitted to, they're still going strong, still keeping my hands nice and warm, and the only reason that my fingers haven't frozen off today because my gloves have been soaking wet since since the minute I started. Further back we get into the first piece of luggage. I've got here the SW-Motech City tank bag, currently hiding underneath its waterproof cover. Vital for today. I think this tank bag is absolutely fantastic. It's got so much space. The pockets are all really, really useful. The method of fitting, the Evo tank ring system, is absolutely brilliant. Not had a single problem with that. And I've managed to keep shed loads of stuff in here. During the days on this trip, I've actually had all the luggage and stuff stuffed somewhere else and just been using the tank bag for day travelling. And I've had my Mavic Air drone, a spare camera, spare batteries, a battery pack, a spare pair of gloves, waterproofs when I haven't had them on, as well as sometimes a jumper, a bottle of water, chocolate bar, and once even a small packed lunch. So you can easily fit everything you need in this case for a day. And also the flexibility given to this by the expanding section means that even with it stuffed full, I could then have expanded it, gained an extra 15-20% of space and put even more stuff in there. SW-Motech City tank bag, easily one of the best pieces of luggage I've ever had. Luggages? Is that even a word? You say luggages? Moving down the bike, I've actually got a set of SW-Motech crash pads, which unfortunately, as you can see by the chewed up look of this and the scratches on my engine covers here, has actually been tested on this trip, as I managed to drop my bike off the edge of the road and into a farmer's field. But these pads, as you can see, have protected all of this area. The only bit that's damaged is the corners here and the paddock stand slash protective bobbin that I've got at the back there. So it's done a great job of keeping all of this stuff tidy. Coming up to the middle, I've got the SW-Motech Traveller Rider cushion. This is a synthetic leather, nylon and rubber outer case with an inflatable seat cushion inside to relieve the pressure points and discomfort of sitting in the same place all the time. It looks like it's completely flat, but I've actually discovered that you have to have it a lot flatter than you think you ought to make it comfortable. To be honest, it took me quite a while to get the right amount of pressure in it. There was a lot of trial and a lot of error, although that is quite easy because you just use this valve, you unscrew it, blow into it, screw it together, and that takes care of that. And then obviously unscrew it to let the air out again. Although it doesn't mean that I can sit on the seat indefinitely, it's not a miracle cure. It does mean that whereas before I used to get a sore ass after about 45 minutes, I can now go a couple of hours in between stops before it actually feels like my hip bones are going to pierce through my flesh and into the seat. It's a really good band-aid for those longer journeys, for those with a tender arse. Another step backward. Here, currently sporting its waterproof rain cover, is the Legend Gear LR1 Rucksack slash tail bag. As the name suggests, this bag can be used as a tailpack or a rucksack. In fact, let me take this off so you can see what it looks like. It's a very sort of semi-military, tactical kind of a look to it. Let's see it without the accessory strap on. There you go, that's how it would normally look. I've just stuck those there. There's a couple of times I've done things like tuck my waterproofs in there just to keep everything accessible should it start to rain. It has straps underneath so you can use it as a rucksack, or it has these straps here which are fixed to the bike and then use these buckles to hold the thing in place. I have found, unfortunately, it tends to come loose. These buckles are actually supposed to be the other way up, like this, which I think you'll agree looks a lot better. The problem is they do tend to let go over time and the bag becomes loose. The kind of partial solution I found as I've got it set up here is to put the buckles the other way up so that the strap itself is locking itself in place. But even then, as you can see, I've done maybe 300 kilometers today and the bag is not quite as tight as it was when I put it together, so a little bit of a failure there that these buckles don't seem to be able to hold themselves tightly in place, because they're all really, really lovely finished aluminium buckles, but they've got quite soft edges, so they're just not gripping into the straps. I mean, otherwise in terms of quality, I've found this to be absolutely fantastic. I think it looks really cool. These straps and things, these buckles, hoops, clips, all really useful, really functional. You can get a bunch of accessory bags and stuff that you can strap onto this to add more things on. And just as SW-Motech say in their instructions, it's already building up a bit of a grimy, hipster, scrambler style retro patina, which a lot of people are going to like. And also, I used it quite a lot as a rucksack at the beginning of this trip, and it was surprisingly comfortable. I actually had a stage of this tour where I was away from my bike using a different bike, and I managed to take all of the stuff I needed for a 4-day weekend just in this rucksack. And also, while it's in my hands, the waterproof cover, while it was a rucksack, this waterproof cover works really well because we wrap it over the bag, obviously, tighten it up, and then it kind of encases the bag. However, when the bag is being used as a tailpack like it is now, I found that's when the waterproof cover runs into trouble, because with the straps on each corner, when you pull it tight, it can't go around the bag quite so much. Like this edge here is relatively unprotected. This strap here is holding it off in this corner, so any spray, any water flicked up, which on bikes like mine of a slightly more sporty nature with a tail tidy, flick all sorts of crap up here, and it can actually get under here. And earlier today, the back/bottom of this bag was actually quite wet, so not the best implementation of the waterproof cover there, unfortunately. However, that being said, the bag is quick and easy to fit to the bike, it's quick and easy to convert into a rucksack, and using it on tour is relatively painless, simple and straightforward. Obviously, it looks a lot cooler when the weather's good, because then you get this tactical, military-looking bad boy bag on the back of the bike, instead of this bin bag wrapped ambiguous package. Okay, further backwards, this is the second time I've used these. These are the SW-Motech Blaze Panniers. I think they're a fantastic set of panniers, good size, they look good on the bike, they're nice and firmly fitted on the bike because of this removable frame system that they've got. I've had them for this 2-week period in the compressed configuration, but of course, as with most SW-Motech stuff, they are expandable, so I would have been able to take a lot more stuff with me on this trip had I wanted to. These panniers don't have a waterproof cover because they have internal waterproof bags. Kind of interesting that SW-Motech have gone for the waterproof over cover on the tailpack here. It would have been much better, I think, if it had had an internal one, because most of all, you don't have to stop and put the cover on when it starts to rain. It's already installed when you pack the bag. Second of all, and most importantly for some of us, the bag looks cool even when it's waterproof. What else touring wise is there worth talking about? The chain. As you can see, despite the fact that I've been riding for just over 2 weeks and 75% of that time it's been raining, my chain is relatively clean, relatively shiny, and completely wet with oil. That's because I've got a Scott oiler fitted, and I think the things are an absolute wonder. I've had to fill it up once completely for the entire 5,000 kilometers of this trip, and the chain looks in good order, and I have had to pretty much do nothing about it. Just filled up the Scott oiler once, that was it. No cleaning, no lubing, no adjusting, just fill the oiler, let it get on with it. So for me, compared to the stress I used to have with trying to oil and adjust and keep the chain in order on a trip like this, that has really saved me some time, some stress, and some hassle. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. That's all the stuff that I would say I've put on or have used as extra for this touring trip. So there you go. That's the quick roundup of my touring setup. All I need to do now is well, probably just take a deep breath and go for it. Smash my way through that big dark cloud, because it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So, wish me luck. Thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, if it was interesting or entertaining for you, give me a like. But if you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down, but do leave a comment to tell me why you didn't like it. Of course, you can also give me a comment to tell me why you did like it. That is still allowed. And if you're not already, get yourself subscribed to the channel so you can keep up to date when I release more videos about this bike. So, thanks again for watching. I will see you next time. Ta-ra!